I love this woman. She is one of the greatest new characters in this series. She is exactly what Elend needs right now, and I am so here for it. She's great. I'm excited.
What an entry, I suppose, what an entrance. And Elend is my fair ladying, kind of.
Yes, it's his turn.
It's his turn. Stand up straight, everybody.
But do you think it's going to be too late to make these changes?
Better late than never.
True.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know how they're going to stick. He's probably going to have his own twist on them. Not going to become exactly. Yeah, I think he'll have his own twist. He's not going to turn into a completely different person.
Right.
But I do think he also will grow into himself. This is what will happen. It's what he needs. As you said, it's absolutely what he needs.
Yeah.
Oh, stop saying No, it's exactly what we all need.
True. I'm so glad I get to edit all of our ums out.
We don't say ever.
Ever.
No need to edit. Sorry. Not a good. Okay.
But Vin finally thinks the things we've been wanting her to think as well.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
So, yeah, really, really good chapter.
Enjoyed it a lot. What else do we have? Goodness. Just goodness.
Let's get into it then.
Let's get into it, yeah.
Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. For this particular series, I am joined by my wonderful co-host, That Darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are both going into the story completely new with almost no knowledge of the story or world.
Each segment, we intend to cover what happens in each new chapter and discuss our experience along the way.
Hold on to your butts, because this is Ascension Unleashed, a blind read-through, and today we will be covering Chapter 14!
Chapter 14! And yet, any who know me will realize that there was no chance I would give up so easily. Once I find something to investigate, I become dogged in my pursuit.
Oh, that definitely ties into what Vin says later on.
Exactly.
She does become dogged in her pursuit. She even has a dog for her pursuit. Sorry, stop trying so hard today. God.
That is fantastic.
Thank you for laughing at that. Don't encourage me. Yes.
Okay. But yes, you are spot on.
Also did think of Sazed maybe. His curiosity gets the better of him. He feels like as much as he fights against it, I think he's also something like that. He's also a nerd. That's all I'm trying to say. But yeah, ties more to Vin because she literally says, "I will find your secret," kind of. So.
Yeah. So the parallels for this chapter are just spot on.
Mm-hmm. But now, obviously, in context, if we're trying to think of where the epigraph's coming from, it's Juan describing some part of the journey of some part of how he found out about Elendi, or how he found out Elendi was not the hero of ages. Either way, before or after, that's where that comes from.
Yes. We are learning more or less how Quan came to discover Elendi as the hero of ages and then determines that he was not. So that's what all that's about. Yeah, other than that, I don't know that there's much to say about this particular epigraph.
Why did I write sane? I think I meant Sazed. Anyway, okay.
The terrace woman snapped her bonds, and the ropes dropped to the floor. Vin? Elend said, beginning to wonder about the logic of meeting with this woman. Perhaps it's time you came in?
She's not actually there,
the terrace woman said offhandedly, walking forward.
She left a few minutes ago to do her rounds. That is why I let myself be caught.
I see. I'll be calling for the guards now.
Don't be a fool. If I wanted to kill you, I could do it before the others got back in. Now be quiet for a moment.
Ellen stood uncomfortably as the tall woman walked around the table in a slow circle, studying him as a merchant might inspect a piece of furniture up for auction. Finally, she stopped, placing her hands on her hips.
Stand up straight.
She commanded. Excuse me?
You're slouching. A king must maintain an air of dignity at all times, even when with his friends.
Now, while I appreciate advice, I don't...
No, don't edge. Command.
Excuse me? The woman stepped forward, placing a hand on his shoulder and pressing his spine firmly to improve his posture. She stepped back, then nodded slightly. She's fantastic.
She's great. Like she nods, like, yes, that's where you set it. Pressing, prodding, does not give a damn. Like from one point of view, she is being so disrespectful and gets away with it because of who Ellen is, what Ellen's like. But on the other hand, she's teaching him to be not the way he is. I love it. The way she's looked at him like a piece of furniture, I like that. Like usually, like I would have gone for like a living piece of livestock kind of thing that you'd be at the market looking at livestock. No, but this is furniture. It's like you're not even a living thing to this woman. I really enjoy her.
I'm getting such stern librarian vibes from her. She needs a ruler to just smack him when
when he slouches again, like just
when he slouches.
Yeah. I do see definitely Wheel of Time fans will see the parallels between this character and just women in Wheel of Time, but certain women, the way that they, I think even Moraine comes to mind. Whatever, I won't get into it, but that little tidbit that you gave last week of he's mentioned that he was inspired by a woman in Wheel of Time. This makes sense.
Yeah, I believe it. Look, I came in very hard at her in the last chapisode, and I stand by everything I said. Like, who are you to come into the king's place and start giving orders? But I like what she's doing in this chapter so much.
Yeah, she's endeared herself through doing stuff that we actually want her to do in any case. We're like, you know what, actually, yes, this is exactly what Ellen needs. So, you know what, we like you. I agree. I was not the biggest fan. I was like, excuse me, actually. But I'm also finding it quite funny as well. I'm finding her quite funny.
Yeah.
It's I think just it's humorous, just the way that she's interacting with him and he's interacting with her.
Yeah, and I think a part of it is or was the not knowing. All we had before was this strange woman is coming in and giving orders to the characters that we know and love in such a haughty and disrespectful way. But now that we have a bit more information about
her intentions,
yeah, and knowing that they align with what my intentions would be, what I would want out of Ellen, she just dramatically rises in likability. And as you said, there's sort of a humor to this, no doubt brought on by the absurdity of the situation. Ellen's not used to being treated like this.
Yeah. And it does also help that we kind of do find out that she is sent by Sazed.
Yes.
So yeah, we were suspicious of this woman, and I was just like, you know what, this is exactly what he needs. And and Vin doesn't like her, but you know, I think
Vin
I agree
doesn't
with
like
Ellen.
anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm here for it.
Yeah, this again, just apologies for. Yeah, just tell me if you want it. I will not be offended if you say you want to do her voice. Okay.
I do not want to do her voice.
Oh, great, thanks.
In fact, I'm quite excited for the opportunity for you to do more voices.
Oh God. Okay.
Now, see, I don't.
No, you must be stronger in the way you speak. Presentation, words, actions, posture will determine how people judge you and react to you. If you start every sentence with softness and uncertainty, you will seem soft and uncertain. Be forceful.
What is going on here?
There. Finally.
You said that you know Sazed? Elend asked, resisting the urge to slouch back into his earlier posture.
That's really funny. I love that. I'm like, yeah, because when you do get that, like, if somebody tells you to sit up straight, you do get that kind of, you lose that conviction. Yeah, I love that. He is an acquaintance. My name is, how the flip do you say the name, guy? Like, Dorkus? Tindwell.
Yeah, I was thinking Tindwell, but because we're doing the accent.
Tindwell.
Tindwell.
Tindville. Would I put Tindville in? I suppose, yeah. Okay. He is an acquaintance. My name is Tindville. I am, as you have guessed, a keeper of terrace.
She tapped her foot for a moment, then shook her head.
Sazed warned me about your slovenly appearance, but I've honestly assumed that no king could have such a poor sense of self-presentation.
Slovenly? Excuse me?
Stop saying that. Don't ask questions. Say what you mean. If you object, object. Don't leave your words up to my interpretation.
Yes, well, while this is fascinating, I'd rather avoid further insults this evening, if you'll pardon me.
Your people think you are a fool, Eden Wincher,
Tindwell said quietly. Elend stopped short.
The assembly, a body you yourself organized, ignores your authority. The Scar are convinced that you won't be able to protect them. Even your own council of friends makes their plans in your absence, assuming your input to be no great loss.
Elend closed his eyes, taking a slow, deep breath.
You have good ideas, Ellen Wincher. Regal ideas. However, you are not a king. A man can only lead when others accept him as their leader, and he has only as much authority as his subjects give to him. All of the brilliant ideas in the world cannot save your kingdom if no one will listen to them.
This last year, I've read every pertinent book on leadership and governance in the 4 libraries.
Then, I suspect that you spent a great deal of time in your room that you should have been out, being seen by your people, learning to be a ruler.
This woman is spitting straight facts.
Exactly. She's got a weird accent, but it's fine. Just deal, guys. Just deal.
Books have great value.
Actions have greater value.
And where am I to learn the proper actions?
From me.
So cinematic, so snappy. Does that make sense?
Yes. So she's got the answer. It's like as if she knew he was going to ask the question. She's like, yeah, that's it. She didn't have to think about it. She knows.
Yeah. Elend hesitated.
You may know that every keeper has an area of special interest. While we all memorize the same store of information, one person can only study and understand a limited amount of that store. Our mutual friend, Sazed, spends his time on religions.
And your specialty?
Biographies. I have studied the lives of generals, kings, and emperors whose names you have never heard. Understanding theories of politics and leadership, Ellen Wincher, is not the same as understanding the lives of men who lived such principles.
And you can teach me to emulate those men?
Perhaps. I haven't decided whether or not you are a hopeless case. But I am here, so I will do what I can. A few months ago, I received a letter from Zazed, explaining your predicament. He did not ask me to come to train you, but then Zazed is perhaps another man who could learn to be more forceful.
Oh, now she's throwing shade at Sazed.
So Zazed's not forceful enough, but he wrote a whole last letter. At least he said something. Come on! And don't throw shade at Sazed, okay?
And isn't he considered a madman by keeper standards?
Yeah, exactly. But wait, hold on. If he is, what is she considered?
Fair question.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really cool that she studies generals and kings and emperors.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to know, of those generals, kings, and emperors, was Alendi among them? Because we don't know Logbook Man's name, except that we know Logbook Man's name. But do they know? I want to know.
Is there what happened with Alendi's story? Is there some of it left as a legend that is not even connected to Rashek or something like that? A lot was erased, definitely.
Yeah.
I wonder if some remnant of Alendi's character is in some sort of legend, like King
Right,
Arthur
and-
sort of way,
Right. And Rashek, we know, took Alendi's place at the Well of Ascension, but I don't actually think it's stated that he was pretending to be Logbook Man. Why would anyone 1,000 years after the fact care if he was Logbook Man or not? So I don't see a reason to think that Rashek was pretending to be Alendi. That doesn't click with me.
When he came out of there, it wasn't like he suddenly looked like Alendi, and and then he continued the ruse going forward. Like, that doesn't seem to be he wasn't conjuring or things like that or something like that. So,
right.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah. But hey, this is going to be really... Oh, and the fact that she studies generals and kings and emperors, it is a point in favor of this woman is the synod theory. Because why wouldn't they make their leader someone who has a unique studyship of leadership?
Yeah.
And you can teach me to emulate those men?
Perhaps. I haven't yet decided whether or not you're a hopeless case. But I am here. So I will do what I can. A few months ago, I received a letter from Sazed explaining your predicament. He did not ask me to come to train you, but then Sazed is perhaps another man who could learn to be more forceful.
Elend nodded slowly, meeting the terrace woman's eyes.
Will you accept my instructions, then?
If she's anywhere near as useful as Sazed, then... Well, I could certainly use some help at this. I will. Tyndwell nodded.
Sazed also mentioned your humility. It could be an asset, assuming you don't let it get in the way. Now, I believe that your Mistborn has returned.
Did we even talk about the fact that Tyndwell lied about Vin
We did not
being there?
Yeah, that was a bit scary.
Very scary.
It was scary, but in the moment now, it's just like we know that it kind of ends okay. So we weren't as alerted to it as we were when we first read it. And
did you have like a sinking, fearful experience? Because when last we left Vin, she was pretty banged up, and the lie, believing that she was out there, was like, okay, she's safe.
She's okay.
But then there's a brief moment of, oh shit, she's not there. Did something worse happen to her? Is she okay? So
is she okay? Is she in her right mind? What's happening? There was that sinking feeling like, wait, what? Oh, she isn't? Okay. And then also you're unsure of this woman's intentions, and you're wondering, okay, Vin's not in good shape. What's happening? Yeah, I suppose she also the explanation is she can hear. She's using a tin mind. Yeah.
Tin mind.
To enhance her hearing, I suppose, and that's why she can notice when... I'm hoping that's what's happening. Unless she's a Ferrocamalcamist. Come in. What Ferrocamalcamist. No, I'm saying alchemist instead of Ferrocamancer.
Ferrocamalcamist.
Yeah, that's alchemist instead of Ferrocamancer.
I love
Mancer is Elemancer. Ferrocamancer, yeah. Anyway. Sazed also mentioned your humility. It could be an asset, assuming you don't let it get in the way. Now, I believe that your Mistborn has returned.
Elend turned toward the side window. The shutter swung open, allowing mist to begin streaming into the room and revealing a crouching, cloaked form.
How did you know I was here?
Tyndwell smiled, the first such expression Elend had seen on her face.
Sazed mentioned you as well, child. You and I should speak soon, in private, I think.
Vin slipped into the room, drawing mist behind her, then closed the shutter. She didn't bother to hide her hostility or mistrust as she placed herself between Elend and Tyndwell.
Why are you here?
Tyndwell smiled again.
It took your king ear several minutes to get to that question, and here you ask it after a few bare moments. You are an interesting couple, I think.
Vin's eyes narrowed.
Regardless, I should withdraw. We shall speak again, I assume, Your Majesty?
Yes, of course. Is there anything I should begin practicing?
Yes. Stop saying
Right. Fantastic character. What a character.
She did say Your Majesty as well. It wasn't like she did speak to him as Ellen Venture, a wencher. Sorry, he's a wench. Ellen Wencher. She did speak to him that way, but she does say Your Majesty at the end, so it's kind of like giving him a little treat, a little bit of reinforcement.
And I would like her a bit less if she had left disrespectfully.
Yes.
I didn't like her when she was disrespectful coming in,
Mhm.
but she is respectful now, and so like it's all just washed away, that initial.
Yeah, she's didn't. I mean, she didn't do it, like, okay, thanks, bye, guys, kind of, respectful, but technically respectful. She doesn't say anything out of hand, and is saying, okay, I shall withdraw, kind of thing. Yeah, it really balances her out. She has the right amount of force, and that just that little jab of stop saying That's great.
Yeah. Hem poked his head in the door as soon as Tindwyl opened it. He immediately noticed her discarded bonds. He didn't say anything. He likely assumed that Elend had freed her. I think we're done for the night, everyone. Ham, would you see that Mistress Tindwyl is given quarters in the palace? She's a friend of Sazed's. Ham shrugged. All right, then. He nodded to Vin, then withdrew. Tindwyl did not bid them good night as she left.
I don't think she needed to, but I suppose. Do you think that that's an Elend sort of cutoff kind of thing, that he's like, she didn't even say goodnight? It's just that's it. She's done.
The stop saying line is an epic close.
Close, yeah, just leave it hanging in the air. Yeah. That's true. Also, question before we go into the next thing. What do you think she is going to, what would she wants to speak to Vin in private? What do you think she's going to be saying there? Did you have any expectations then?
Oh gosh, it's so hard to tell. I didn't actually think about it all that much, but now that you bring up the question, it's like, how did I not think about it all that much? I don't think it'll be like to see the girl who beat the Lord Ruler. I don't think it will be like an kind of a meeting. I think she wants to assess who the person is and likely see if we know that Sazed mentioned her in his letter, I think. So probably just to evaluate her. That's my initial guess.
I agree. She's just going to evaluate, like, okay, yeah, you did this deed, this Lord Ruler killing, but what kind of person are you really? Was it luck? Like, I feel like a person with her background would want to also evaluate the way that she's evaluated Elend. And she is also interested in Vin's relationship with Elend, the way that she says, you people are an interesting couple. That's she's probably going to see. She's going to evaluate Vin's influence on Elend and see how that works.
Oh, yeah, excellent point.
So
teach him to be more forceful.
Yeah, and also, what's she going to? What can she teach Vin? Vin is more forceful, clearly, but maybe she can teach Vin to be more. I don't know. Vin is subtle in when she wants to be.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
Yeah. I would want to revisit Sazed's lines about how he would be there for Vin, and I would probably apply some of his instincts on the matter to Tindwyl.
I'm just, like, as you said in the beginning, I'm here for it. I'm here for her lessons to Elend or to everything, just whoever she's teaching, because she does have that wealth of knowledge. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Did not expect this 180-degree turn.
Yeah, did not expect to like her.
Vin frowned, then glanced at Elend. He seemed distracted.
I don't like her.
Elend smiled, stacking up the books on his table. You don't like anyone when you first meet them, Vin.
I liked you.
Thereby demonstrating that you are a terrible judge of character. At that, Vin smiled. She walked over and began picking through the books. They weren't typical Elend fare, far more practical than the kinds of things he usually read.
How did it go tonight? I didn't have much time to listen.
He turned, sitting down on the table, and looked up at the darkened rose window at the back of the room. It went well, I suppose.
I told you they'd like your plan. It's the sort of thing they'll find challenging.
I suppose,
All right.
she said, sitting beside him.
Oh, mine says hopping up to stand on the table. She sat down beside him.
Oh,
So she stands on the table and then sits down. Like I don't know. It's just an interesting, cute difference.
I'm so sad my copy doesn't have it because it's so endearing, the thought of
Yeah.
her hopping up on the table.
Yeah, she just stands on the table because she's just everything is just a place where she can balance and walk around on.
Cat-like.
Yeah, exactly. She's like a cat. That's
And
why
quirky.
I like her so much. Yeah, she is quirky. And then she sits down. So it's like she did a weird thing and then did a normal thing.
Well, sadly, I don't have that.
Yeah. Well, my book is the truth because it's later in a later edition. Okay, we decided.
Sure.
All right.
She hopped on the table apparently, and then sat beside him.
What is it? Is it something that woman said? What does she want anyway?
Merely to pass on some knowledge. You know how keepers are, always wanting an ear to listen to their lessons.
I suppose.
Vin said slowly. She hadn't ever seen Elend depressed, but he did get discouraged. He had so many ideas, so many plans and hopes, that she sometimes wondered how he kept them all straight. She would have said he lacked focus. Reen had always said focus kept a thief alive, but Elend's dreams were so entwined in who he was. She doubted he could discard them. She didn't think she would want him to, for they were part of what she loved about him. They agreed to the plan, Vin. They even seemed excited, like you said they'd be. But I can't help thinking that their suggestion was far more rational than mine. They wanted to side with one of the armies, giving it our support in exchange for leaving me as a subjugated ruler in Luthadel.
That would be giving up.
Sometimes giving up is better than failing. I just committed my city to an extended siege. That'll mean hunger, perhaps starvation, before this is over with. Vin put a hand on his shoulder, watching him uncertainly. Usually he was the one who reassured her.
It's still a better way. The others probably just suggested a weaker plan because they thought you wouldn't go along with something more daring.
No. They weren't pandering to me, Vin. They really thought that making a strategic alliance was a good, safe plan. Since when did that group represent the reasonable side of my government?
They've had to grow. They can't be the men they once were, not with this much responsibility.
Elend turned back toward the window. I'll tell you what worries me, Vin. I'm worried that their plan wasn't reasonable. Perhaps even it was a bit foolhardy. Perhaps making an alliance would have been a difficult enough task. If that's the case, then what I'm proposing is downright ludicrous. Vin squeezed his shoulder.
We fought the Lord Ruler.
You add Kelsier, then.
Not that again.
I'm sorry, but really, Vin, maybe my plan to try to hold on to the government is no more than arrogance. What was it you told me about your childhood? When you were in the thieving crews and everyone was bigger, stronger, and meaner than you, what did you do? Did you stand up to the leaders? Memories flashed in her mind. Memories of hiding, of keeping her eyes down, of weakness.
That was then. You can't let others beat on you forever. That's what Kelsier taught me. That's why we fought the Lord Ruler. That's why the Scar Rebellion fought their final empire all those years, even when there was no chance of winning. Reen taught me that the rebels were fools, but Reen is dead now, and so is the final empire. And
she leaned down, catching Elend's eyes.
You can't give up the city, Elend. I don't think I'd like what that would do to you.
This last page and a half has just been full of absolutely top-tier lines.
Mm-hmm.
From what Elend is saying about the reasonable plan and what worries him, to I don't like what that would do to you.
Yeah.
Such a fantastic, just this whole Elend monologue about his plan and asking her about her childhood.
Yeah, he this goes back to me saying like he's thinking out loud, or he's processing this with her, and you can see her function as a light, you know. He's being doubtful. She herself has noticed that he's usually the one that's reassuring her, but she's reassuring him in that, you know, she knows that his conscience would never let him just give up the city.
Yeah.
It's such deep character work that I enjoy.
Yeah. You can be very wise sometimes, Vin.
You think that?
He nodded.
Well, then obviously you're as poor of a judge of character as I am.
Elend laughed, putting his arm around her, hugging her against his side. So I assume the patrol tonight was uneventful? The mist spirit, her fall, the chill she could still feel, if only faintly remembered, in her forearm.
It was.
The last time she'd told him of the mist spirit, he'd immediately thought she'd been seeing things. So I read that, and then I had to go back to that chapter to look at the exact interaction, because I didn't remember it going quite that way. I remember him being dismissive of it or not really caring, but I didn't think she outright didn't believe her. And I went back and I reread it, and I was like, okay, yeah, maybe he didn't.
Yeah. I didn't go back to check on it. I do remember him just not finding it this huge deal. But I agree. It's not that he would completely, if she said it again and literally told, and also, never mind that. She needs to tell him she's got a lot more proof. Like the last time she told him, she just said she saw something. This now is confirmation. So that's not a good enough reasoning, Vin. Oh, well, he didn't believe me last time. So, like, yeah, but you now something real has happened. It touched it.
Yeah.
Like, hello. That I'm kind of annoyed that she's not telling him, but that's what she's like. She's like, oh, I'm not gonna worry him, and also, yeah, well, he's not gonna believe me. So let's just skip over that. She doesn't know what she's gonna do with this information in any case. But I would have liked her to think about that, to share that with Elend. But she's in this position where she's like, oh, well, he's got other problems, I suppose. I can't talk about this. It's like, but that's quite a big problem, I think.
Yeah.
This is a problem that Elend will have to worry about. Sorry. It's going to come back.
Very much so. Although I think the mist thing is more specifically, I think everything's just more interested in Vin than Elend.
Yes. Yeah,
the Watcher, like, the mist thing.
Yeah.
But yes. No. If it is a herald of the deepness, then
yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it's gonna become his problem. So might as well. And listen, he's got to be strong enough to hold all of that. I don't think he is at the moment, but trial by fire.
See, you should have come to the meeting. I would have liked to have had you there. She didn't reply. They sat for a few minutes, looking up at the dark window. There was an odd beauty to it. The colors weren't visible because of the lack of backlight, and she could instead focus on the patterns of glass. Chips, slivers, slices, and plates woven together within a framework of metal.
Elend, I'm worried.
I'd be concerned if you weren't. Those armies have me so worried that I can barely think straight.
No, not about that. I'm worried about other things.
Like what?
Well, I've been thinking about what the Lord Ruler said right before I killed him. Do you remember?
Elend nodded. He hadn't been there, but she'd told him.
He talks about what he'd done for mankind. He saved us, the stories say, from the deepness. But what was the deepness? You were a nobleman. Religion wasn't forbidden to you. What did the ministry teach about the deepness and the Lord Ruler?
Not much, really. Religion wasn't forbidden, but it wasn't encouraged either. There was something proprietary about the ministry, an air that implied they would take care of religious things, that we didn't need to worry ourselves.
But they did teach you about some things, right?
Elend nodded. Mostly they talked about why the nobility were privileged and the Ska cursed. I guess they wanted us to understand how fortunate we were, though honestly, I always found the teachings a little disturbing. See, they claimed that we were noble because our ancestors supported the Lord Ruler before the Ascension, but that meant we were privileged because of what other people had done. Not really fair, eh? Vin shrugged.
Fair as anything else, I guess.
Didn't you get angry? Didn't it frustrate you that the nobility had so much while you had so little?
I didn't think about it. The nobility had a lot, so we could take it from them. Why should I care how they got it? Sometimes when I had food, other thieves beat me and took it. What did it matter how I got my food? It was still taken from me.
You know, I wonder what the political theorists I've read would say if they met you. I have a feeling they'd throw up their hands in frustration. Is Elend a commie?
Commie Elend, oh gosh, and now we're trying to make him a better politician?
No, we've made a mistake, a terrible, terrible mistake.
Starvation is incoming. Enjoy.
She poked him in the side.
Enough politics. Tell me about the deepness.
Also, I'm so glad she's asking these questions finally.
Yes, I'm very happy with this, but so look, she's now my thing was that she didn't bring up this mist
Earlier?
thing. This mist thing.
Oh,
She didn't bring
yeah,
that up because she doesn't want to worry him or doesn't want to get into it. But then she immediately brings up her concerns about the deepness. Wouldn't your concerns about the deepness also be strengthened by telling Ellen about this thing? Hello? No? I think if you're going to bring this on him and say, I'm worried about other things, might as well give him the evidence, the reason that it seems to be connected. Just, you don't have to have the answer. You don't have to know exactly. Just let him know what you're confused about. And then another brain is working on it somehow. That's all.
yes. At least have it said.
Mm-hmm. But we've already established, and Ellen has also noted, she's just not used to telling people things. She's used to having to keep secrets. It's just a habit. She's like, oh, she wants to share things. She doesn't, her immediate thing when she goes through something isn't to just share it with someone. It's just, okay, that might not work in my favor, so I won't do it.
Right. Oh, poor Vin. Well, I think it was a creature of some sort, a dark and evil thing that nearly destroyed the world. The Lord Ruler traveled to the Well of Ascension, where he was given the power to defeat the deepness and unite mankind. There are several statues in the city depicting the event. Vin frowned.
Yes, but they never really show what the deepness looked like. It's depicted as a twisted lump at the Lord Ruler's feet.
Well, the last person who actually saw the deepness died a year ago, so I guess we'll have to make do with the statues. I did a double take at that line because I had a dumb moment and I was like, wait, no, that was 1,000 years ago. What are you talking about? And then it clicked like, oh, Lord Ruler. Yeah, of course.
I also was just like, wait, who? Oh, yes. That was quite a pause. Yeah, I agree. Unless it comes back.
Is that what this is about, Finn? 2 armies aren't enough? You have to worry about the fate of the world as well? Vin glanced down sheepishly and Ellen laughed, pulling her close. Ah, Vin, I know you're a bit paranoid. Honestly, considering our situation, I'm starting to feel the same. But I think this is one problem you don't have to worry about. I haven't heard any reports of monstrous incarnations of evil rampaging across the land. Stupid Ellen! I mean...
You haven't? He hasn't?
He hasn't, but...
You don't need that. Yeah.
You don't need that. The mists are coming earlier.
Yeah, exactly. And but that being said, he could have a report of a monstrous incarnation if Vin told him about it.
Yep. Mists during the day, although we don't know if it's affected Luthadel yet, but...
Yeah. But, also just the dramatic irony, we know that they could have, there have been incidents. They just haven't been reported to him. And it's just like, oh... if only you knew. Like, it really is something to worry about. I understand he's dismissing it because, you know what, there isn't really anything he can do about it. But I think Vin could have done, if the conversation went differently, Vin could have done some convincing at least and be like, well, this is what I'm busy with, okay? I am going to try and, obviously, I'm focused on trying to keep you safe, but I'm also worried about this, which is absolutely valid.
Yeah. Look, just promise me you'll pay attention to how the mist patterns are changing. Keep an eye out.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't go and speak to weird shadow things. Yeah, keep an eye out. Because he isn't scared of the mists. He should become scared of them now.
Yeah. But hey, she's planted the seed for the moment, and that's good.
Yeah.
Vin nodded and Ellen leaned back a bit, clearly assuming that he'd answered her question.
The hero of ages traveled to the Well of Ascension to defeat the deepness. But the prophecies all said that the hero shouldn't take the well's power for himself. He was supposed to give it, trust in the power itself to destroy the deepness. Rashek didn't do that. He took the power for himself. Wouldn't that mean that the deepness was never defeated? Why then wasn't the world destroyed? The red sun and brown plants. Did the deepness do that?
Still thinking about that? Red sun and brown plants? What other colors would they be? She's thinking exactly what we've been saying. I'm so happy to see it.
Finally, like, oh my goodness. And I'm glad she's not spoken herself out of these questions.
Yeah.
Kelsey said that the sun was once yellow and plants were green.
That's an odd image.
Sazed agrees with Kelsey. The legends all say that during the early days of the Lord Ruler, the sun changed colors and ash began to fall from the sky.
Well, I guess the deepness could have had something to do with it. I don't know, honestly. He sat musingly for a few moments. Green plants? Why not purple or blue? So odd.
That was so weird to me. Just, it really is their reality. It has been their reality for so long. It seems unfathomable that things could ever have been different. That's really sad. So yes, definitely the world was destroyed somewhat.
Yeah,
The Hero of Ages traveled north to the Well of Ascension.
Vin thought again. She turned slightly, her eyes drawn toward the terrace mountains so far away. Was it still up there, the Well of Ascension? Did you have any luck getting information out of Orasur? Anything to help us find the spy? Vin shrugged.
He told me that Condra can't use allomancy.
So you can find our imposter that way?
Maybe. I can test Spook and Ham at least. Regular people will be more difficult, though Condra can't be soothed, so maybe that will help me find the spy.
That sounds promising. Vin nodded. The thief in her, the paranoid girl that Elend always teased, itched to use allomancy on him, to test him, to see if he reacted to her pushes and pulls. She stopped herself. This one man she would trust. The others she would test, but she would not question Elend. In a way, she'd rather trust him and be wrong than deal with the worry of mistrust.
I finally understand. Kelsey, I understand what it was like for you with Mayor. I won't make your same mistake.
Oh, Vin.
Yeah, she's like, you know what? I would rather trust than just literally go through what Kelsey did. What do you think of that?
But Condra.
Yeah, I know. That's yeah. Mayor
wasn't a Condra.
Yeah, there was no Condra on the loose in that situation.
Because
and yeah,
if you check, it's not a betrayal. Because if it's a Condra, it's not a betrayal.
Due diligence. You need to do that. So and I don't think it would be right for, say, Elend to be upset with her for testing him. Like, he wouldn't feel like, oh, she doesn't trust me. It's like, no, I don't trust the Condra, and I have to find out whether it's you or not. Yeah.
Kitab, if you are ever concerned that I am a Condra, I want you to know that I give you my full permission to soothe and or riot me as necessary to determine that I am not.
Same goes for me, because you're a Mistborn too, apparently.
Yes, we are. And you too can be an allomancer, folks, if you join the Discord. Link in the description.
Yes,
that's
join.
The plug. Seriously, though, we're building a fun little community, and I comment there from time to time and post comics in the meme channel.
Things.
So
yeah.
Elend was looking at her.
What?
You're smiling. Do I get to hear the joke? She hugged him.
No.
She said simply. Elend smiled. All right, then. You can test Spook and Ham, but I'm pretty sure the imposter isn't one of the crew. I talked to each of them today, and they were all themselves. We need to search the palace staff.
He doesn't know how good Condra can be.
The enemy Condra had probably studied his victim for months and months, learning and memorizing their every mannerism. So that's a point against the they get memories guess.
Yeah. We still don't have that exact question being asked, so we still don't know, but we do need to go with what information we have, and that does go against the memories thing.
Yeah. I've spoken to Ham and Demio. As members of the Palace Guard, they know about the bones, and Ham was able to guess what they were. Hopefully they can sort through the staff with minimal disturbance and locate the imposter. Vin's senses itched at how trusting Elend was.
No, let him assume the best. He has enough to worry about. Besides, perhaps the Condra is imitating someone outside our core team. Elend can search that avenue. And if the imposter is a member of the crew, well, that's the sort of situation where my paranoia comes in handy.
Anyway, I have a few things to check on before it gets too late. Vin nodded. He gave her a long kiss, then left. She sat on the table for a few moments longer, not looking at the massive rose window, but at the smaller window to the side, which she'd left slightly open. Mist churned in the blackness outside, tentatively sending tendrils into the room, evaporating quietly in the warmth.
I will not fear you, and I will find your secret.
She climbed off the table and slipped out the window to meet with Orasur and do another check of the palace grounds. Do they ever sleep?
Exactly. I was wondering that in terms of also like Ellen being an imposter as well, like at night that sort of thing can happen. If she, I mean, it doesn't seem like they have a regular sleeping schedule thing. I suppose when he sleeps and Vin maybe sleeps during the day, yeah, this whole Kandra exchange could happen.
It's possible.
I'm still so worried. I'm just still so worried that it is someone in the crew because of that conversation. He was so trusting. Now, if that person is part of the crew, they know that they're playing both sides. So
yeah, it's very concerning. I don't want it to be any members of the crew, and I feel like I'm pretty sure there was a line where she considered the ramifications of it being one of the crew, emotionally speaking, but she moved off of it really quickly. And it's like, no, live in that for a moment, please.
That means that the person's dead, gone.
Yeah.
Murdered.
Yeah. And I don't mean it like to stoke fear and paranoia in her. I mean, live in it for a moment so that you can prepare yourself should it turn out to be true.
Try to prepare yourself. I don't know how you can really be prepared for that sort of thing. But yeah, to have some sort of bracing that occurs. Yeah, also, what do you think of, I mean, there are flashes of Demir, so I'm hoping it's him.
Yeah, me too, of all of them.
Demir. Yeah, don't have Ham. Like, literally, Ham and Demir. I'm like, at least we can test for Ham, though. That's cool.
Yeah. There's no way that it would be one of the Allomancers in the group, except for maybe Clubs, because it would be too easy. Like, here's the solution to find it. All you have to do is Allomance.
Yeah.
So it would be too quick of a finding out, so to speak.
Yeah, too simple. Yeah, it has to be the push and pull, I think. That's what I was going to say as well, is that in the previous chapter, it wasn't really confirmed. She was like, yeah, okay, if you try and use an emotional allomancy, a person can hide their emotions, and that wouldn't be a very good test. But then in this chapter, she is thinking about using that kind of test. So I'm like, yes, because we were saying that is exactly what you should be doing. You should do like a shove of push, you know, and a lack of reaction is a reaction itself. So I want to see that happening.
Yeah, agreed.
And anything else about this very good chapter?
Not that I can think of. I really, really enjoyed this chapter. I'm very excited for this new character now. And I can't wait to see what happens next. Oh, when Sazed gets back and the two of them meet, that interaction is going to be great.
Yes, I want to know what their history is. Why?
I want to know if she is the leader or not.
Yeah, is she some Scion lady? Or is she just an arrogant person? Who knows? Yeah. We will know at some point, hopefully. But have you liked this video, guys? You come this far, like it. Comment. Have a bit of a lull in the comment section without spoilers.
Kitte is very generous with her time in helping me build this channel. So if you want to go and subscribe to that darn Kitte, it would be tremendously appreciated as well.
As well, too, also.
Yeah. Okay, enough with that. Go have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next week. Okay, thanks, bye.
Thanks, bye.